Welcome back to the program. Let's head to the dailies and see exactly what the papers are saying. Wale Fatade joins us live on the program. As a journalist, Mr. Wale, thank you indeed for agreeing to speak with us here and do this analysis for us this morning.
Good morning. Good to see you. Please pardon me. I keep forgetting your name.
It's fine. The name is Kelly.
No, I should know. Kelly, okay.
Kelly.
Morning,
yeah.
Jeffrey. Morning, Bukola.
All right.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah, let's quickly just begin with this Nigeria this morning. Let me see if I can pull that out as quickly as I can. This Nigeria, Mr. Wale Fatade, it leads with EU releases 2.3 million euros as cholera cases surge. Nigeria receives 1.5 million euros as 6,860 cases, 80 deaths are recorded. There's also some other riders there. Pandef unveils 15-region Nigeria plan, demands 50% derivation, and then Tinubu, of course, celebrating IVB and all about. Let's begin with health this morning, and then top of it is Nigeria's inflation. Nigeria inflation rate drops to 15.43% in July. That's according to the NBS. So two things here: the NBS figures of Nigeria's inflation rate for last month, July, and then this idea of always receiving some sort of aid from international bodies. Mr. Fatade.
Yeah, well, I think, and I made these points maybe about 2-3 weeks back here on how there is an annual cholera surge in Nigeria, and how cholera always have a kind of time line: July, August, September. And research has been done into this. You can trace where it will move from and where it will go. And then what causes cholera? Basically drinking bad water, and then caused by a bacterium called Vibrio cholerae, which can be on contaminated foods, contaminated water. It can even be on contaminated groceries like biscuits, sweets sometimes, when the wrapper are compromised. And so it's a shame on us that we need to depend on shame on us as a country, that we need to depend on the European Union to be helping us with our cholera. And then what is the alert, the surveillance from the Nigerian disease control council or agency or whatever? When last did we hear anything from them about this? It's just a shame. The other one, you are talking about inflation. Well, this is after rebasing, and I've always said the figures are wonderful, but the reality still remains. As the bag of rice come down, how about the inflation basket, a tuber of yam, a pack of spaghetti? Have those things come down? Or noodles, the bag of gari, or as we say in Lagos, a paint bucket? As the price come down, until this thing translate into that, we are just blowing in the air with some wonderful and funny figures. The thing must reflect in the average life of the common man.
Well, it appears as if, regardless of what the economy is saying at this point, we have not quite exited, the after effect of the Osun governorship election, and that's where the Nigerian Tribune is taking us this morning, Mr. Fatade. Osun Guba, UK raises concerns over vote buying. NBA warns of Beavers challenges ahead of 2027. And there are some riders here. No ghost hired voters in Osun election, INEC insists. Adeleke Campaign Council moves to document victims of violence, and police warn against forceful takeover of local government secretariats. Mr. Fatade, I know this is your state. We had a conversation with you ahead of this election, and now the elections have been decided. What were the high points for you and the concerns as a result?
Well, I'll start with concerns for me. By the way, I was listening to your analysis and the way you have been thumping up my home state as a kind of modicum of example on what to follow. And I think one thing we must do, we need to all sit down, calm down, and process the results of what happened carefully. And we might not be able now to read a lot of meaning into the election. And as I've told you, for those of us who know the state very well, the results were not surprising. Yeah. What we were afraid for before was the kind of overbearing federal might deployed against our state. We remember the number of commissioners of police, 30 or 32. We have an AIG, we have the DIG, all of them. And we saw governor, and I'm particularly concerned about the governor of the state where I reside, Mr. Sanwo-Olu. I hope now that elections are over, he will have more time to deal with the refuse that are the ornaments on our roads across the state. The idea that people are the ones dumping that sabotage now is no longer working. So, Mr. Sanwo-Olu, welcome back to Lagos, but please help us do something about refuse. The concern I have is that for the Accord Party, which have won the election, or which won the election for better expression, be careful of triumphalism. The state belongs to all of us. And I'm actually happy that they are documenting victims of the violence. But I want to tell them, the victims cut across both sides, not just on the side of Accord. We must put that on record. That some APC lives were lost too. And I'm hoping, I wish that will have an audience with Governor Adeleke. You have earned your mandate, you have the right to use it as you like, but let there be a monument to the victims of those, to those who lost their lives because of this election. It's sad that in the year 2026, politics is still barbaric, it's still brutish and nasty in this part of the world. That's very sad. Nobody should be killed or prejudiced because of his political view. As long as you are not expressing a racist view, that's all. So it's your right to vote for candidate A, it's your right to vote for candidate B. That's one. That's my concern. The other thing, we have seen how some political leaders, so-called, have grassroots appeal. And that's something that everybody should be careful. We have seen how people are more popular. They handed over the mandate or whatever to them, and they can see that, look, they can't even deliver their local government or their wards or their polling units. So don't overrate people. The real grassroots is where politics is played. The other thing, which is, I will have to reverse a bit now, concern, I was astounded and shocked about appointees of the president maintained with our Commonwealth, openly partisan, in their place, and that's okay. They might be working for a party. But when you are appointed by a president and maintained by our Commonwealth, I hope they will not collect extra code for the number of days they spent in Osun State. Or if they did, the permanent secretary of State House, whosoever is responsible for their monthly pay, should deduct that money back. And the days they did not spend working for Nigeria, that they were working for APC. There is a reason why in the United States, a campaign plane is different from the Air Force One when a city president is campaigning. Because why? You do not use the state resources to fund your own personal ambition. And these are things that is enough of these people can play politics, but not when you are being maintained by our Commonwealth. And then the other thing is showing people now that power truly belongs to them if they know how to deploy it very well. Thank you.
Very strong reminders of separating, everything in between, Mr. Fatode. Let's go to the Vanguard newspaper. Maybe we'll go to the Guardian. They are similar. Concerns as cost of living pressure lingers despite easing inflation. Concerns as cost of living pressure lingers despite easing inflation. That should be the Guardian newspaper. But it looks like my people have put Vanguard instead. So maybe we'll run with Vanguard. How 24 firms control over 70% of Nigeria's stock market. We can come to the Guardian later. Mr. Faraday.
Well, I started learning about stock market because my mother, who was trading stocks many years back, and why I've not read this story fully, I do not think this is anything strange. The 5 topmost companies on New York Stock Exchange, Amazon, Alphabet, what's the parent company of Google, Meta, and I think Tesla or whatever, they are all in tech, and they actually have more than 50% share of the market. The only thing is that regulatory authorities must be sure they are regulated very well. That's all. So it's because of it depends on what they are doing and the kind of movement or the tide that is flowing towards their way. Nothing strange, but as long as the regulatory agencies are not caught napping and they are not sleeping, that's okay. Kudos. It's a boom time for those who are investing in stock market. But it's good. As much as this is good, the question that we all need to be asking when our government trump this as part of their indices of success is actually how many Nigerians have investment in stock market. we should not forget they are institutional investors, rather pension funds and what have you. Yeah, and I think sometimes you actually have offshore funds being brought in by wealth managers globally. So, but how many citizens are actually investing in stock market so that the effect of this boom will actually percolate down?
Mr. Fatide, let's switch gears for a moment and turn our attention to the New Telegraph. It leads with something that is indeed a concern for us as a nation and the continent. Xenophobia South Africa anti-immigration group issues fresh September 30 deadline. 83 more Nigerians we hear are to return from Rainbow Nation today, and that's a big development. So 83 more Nigerians are expected to return or evacuated from South Africa today. But I wonder what you make of this headline of SA anti-immigration group issuing a fresh September 30 deadline.
Some few days ago, I saw a recent video of President Ramaphosa apologizing for what the citizens did. And my reaction was that was just an insincere apology. And this has shown that again. I think this is not going to stop, sadly so, because the government of South Africa has not shown the seriousness tackling this, that what it needs. And it's amazing that studies have shown that Africa has actually moved more within Africa itself as a continent. They are moving to Europe or other places or North America. And so people are moving in large numbers. Our people are doing stuff. But the new deadline is not surprising to me. There is a tacit support by the current South African government for those who are doing this, and it's sad. And I pray those of our brothers and sisters who are coming back home, I pray they get here safe and let them start rebuilding their lives. The challenge for us as a country, as a nation, as a society is to ensure that our people can prosper within our own borders too.
Well, there are more stories to reflect on the front pages this morning, and I'd like to look at Daily Trust. Of course, we've exhausted the concerns about food inflation. Let's take a look at the top corner, just under the nameplate of Daily Trust newspaper. We have some stories there, but one gets our attention. Over 200 lecturers resigned from Kaduna University. The story goes that this is as a result of poor welfare. And right under the Daily Trust newspaper, at the bottom strip here, we'll find another development concern. Flooded Abuja mansions raise questions over green areas. Mr. Fatade, your work is cut out for you this morning over the stories.
Yes, I was, as a former resident of Abuja, one of the things that really struck me in Abuja is when it rains. Not up to 5-10 minutes, every flood water is gone. When I first saw those pictures, sincerely, I thought they were AI generated. I'm serious. Because that has never happened. And that shows that some people must have tampered with the original Abuja plan. That's the reality. And so, White Minister Wike is always trumped up as Mr. Project. For projects that do not take into a cognizance environmental sustainability, they are not worth their prices. They are not worth the money spent on them. I mean, it is going to be disastrous for us that we import the flood of Port Harcourt or the flood of Lagos into Abuja, a city that was literally planned from the scratch. No, that would be very dangerous for us. And the earlier this is nipping the bud, there have been concerns by some environmental organizations, environmental activists, that the green area in Abuja have been sold and have been built up. No, you cannot. I mean, whatever you say, we are going to live environmentally. I mean, all of us, and now there is now going to be a super El Nino across the globe again. Are we ready for this? And so, if areas that were supposed to be reserved as green areas have been built up, have been sold, wow, we can't sow the wind and reap more wind, or what do they put that expression? We need to make this clearly in the board. And for the university lecturers in Kaduna State University, at the conference earlier this year, I met young lecturers from that university, the Conference of Academics. And I was so shocked by the kind of work, very commendable work coming out of that university, because it was at the conference of the National Academy of Science, of the Nigerian Academy of Science. And this is happening. Labor, we all learned that in elementary economics. We always follow where there is mobility. We always follow where it's well remunerated. If the Kaduna State government is not serious about maintaining its university staff, they just have to go elsewhere. I got family members, I got friends who are academic staff and who are academics, and you cannot appeal to anybody. Hunger knows no appeal. When you are hungry, you must eat, and food costs money. They have their own lives to live as well. They have families and dependents to maintain. So it's sad that is happening in an academic environment.
Mr. Fatade, before we go, we're totally out of time. There's a story on the front page of This Nigeria I want you to binge on. That's Pandef unveiling what they call 15 regions for Nigeria, demanding 50% derivation. I know we looked at This Nigeria, but it's a story that is of interest. They've tried to reorganize and restructure Nigeria around major ethnic nationalities, not just among the three. What do you make of it?
I commend them. And as I've always advocated, we must sit down to talk about the kind of structure we want to have for Nigeria. Now we are doing that through the back door, starting with state police. But one day, we will get to that destination. All of us will now ask whether we want to follow the Switzerland example, or we want to follow the United States example, but we don't have to get to that destination. Kudos to Pandef, who are forcing us to look at these things again. And they are 50% derivation is their oil, and they have the right to ask for whatever they want to ask for about that. So I hope that we will listen to them. When they are oil-bearing communities, not just producing, they bear this crude oil. So, and the devastation that happens in their environment, the rest of us don't experience that. The other question for them, though, is it 20 or 30% now? Is it well managed? So if you not get 50, but that's their own, it's for them to deal with. But I think we should commend them for bringing these issues to the front burner again.
Well, we must leave it here. I like the fact that you say it's their oil. It's our oil, actually.
It belongs to them.
It belongs to us.
The two of you will get it. So wonderful. Keep it up.
Thank you indeed for your time and analysis of the program this morning. Commissioning Editor of The Conversation Africa, Mr. Wale Fatade, as always. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Well, this is the morning brief. We have our eyes and our ears spread across Nigeria and indeed the subnationals. And this morning we get to take a look at something that is playing out in Cross River State. There's a story we are following which has to do with human rights and allegations of cyber bullying. We'll tell you all about it after this break. Please stay with us.